In the book Crime and Punishment, the main character, Razmukin, kills an old woman and her younger sister in an attempt to rob the old woman of his possessions and to take the money as he is desperately broke and essentially fighting to just even keep a piece of bread on his plate, going days without food, sleeping on the street. And in his desperate attempt to rob the old woman, as I mentioned, he does murder her, and because of the unfortunate timing of the sister walking in, kills the sister as well. Now, this sequence of events happens at the very beginning of the book, about 100 or so pages in, and the rest of the book focuses on the main character slowly losing his mind, following, rationalizing the murder of this old woman and her innocent, sick sister. In part 4 of the book, the main character meets a detective who, at this point, you can kind of understand as the reader, sees the main character as almost a prime suspect in the murder of this old woman and the sister. In their initial conversation in the restaurant, where the main character and his two friends are gathered with the detective slowly starts to introduce facts that he's gathered about the case. That the main character has been the only patron who has not visited him, the detective, to retrieve the valuables from the old woman who was murdered. Evidently, all other patrons of the old woman who would give their possessions to her for rubles came to the detective to get their possessions back, but the main character had not. In addition to this, the detective has investigated the main character's history and finds that he has written an article on rationalizing murder. The main character believes that there is a difference between ordinary and extraordinary people, in that ordinary people cannot seem to escape the confines of everyday life, that they must conform to the laws and to the expectations of their lives, while extraordinary people have new and original ideas that are to contribute to society, and as such, are permitted to kill people. I'm bringing this up because I feel that the book delves into something that all of us kind of deal with on a day to day basis, especially in 2026, if you're a young person who's kind of struggling out here, whether it be emotionally, financially, what be it, that we're all looking for some sort of control, whether it be through maybe relationships that we're in, whether it be romantic or friendship wise, or our relationship with social media. I feel that many of us are looking for a way to rationalize the absurdity of everyday life and having to deal with a lot of the boring and kind of daunting events that happen in our day to day lives. And as somebody who grew up with social media almost my entire life, I've been on social media since I was probably like 11 or 12. So I'm 22 now. I've slowly started to realize that social media is just a means to find control in your life, and that often it doesn't allow for the birth of new and original ideas unless you are a creator. But even then, when you're just mindlessly consuming TikToks, YouTube videos, whatever it may be, you're looking to escape the silence and the mundane tasks of everyday life, and sometimes also avoiding hard and difficult feelings like loneliness through finding subsets of communities online. Drawing parallels to the book as well, the old woman who dies, pretty brutal death by the hands of our main character, Razmukin, is also part of this problem of control, as she is essentially a, I wouldn't say wealthy, but a wealthier woman than a lot of the citizens of Russia in this fictional setting, who takes advantage of other people by essentially taking their possessions, whether it be family heirlooms or nice pieces of furniture and whatnot, and exchanging them for a far lower value than what they're worth. And when you are engaging on social media and you are especially engaging with content that's kind of meant to distract you from everyday life, which I'm not speaking down on anybody, I absolutely do this, especially with the state of the economy, with stress of trying to just get through a normal day when there's like a million things on top of your head. I get it, but you are lowering, I don't want to say the value because every life is valuable, but there is a difference between simply trying to engage your mind and to challenge yourself and not just trying to improve yourself via, getting a different job and, trying to look better. I mean, more so in just improving your analytical abilities and doing so by doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, maybe reading a hard book or actually sticking with a learning plan and learning a new language or even having thoughtful conversations with people that you wouldn't necessarily think to have said conversation with. I was somebody who was severely addicted to social media, especially TikTok, Instagram, who has since deleted those platforms for over a year in an attempt to study for the LSAT, the entrance exam of law school, which has been one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do because up until this point, I've had a kind of linear trajectory in graduating high school and going to college and have been more or less almost living my life on autopilot. And I think a lot of young people who almost escape their day to day lives through social media use kind of stop realizing how short life is, how short your lifespan is, or even what meaning you want to assign to your life. You play a comparison game by comparing yourself to your peers, academically, appearance wise, job mobility wise. Life almost becomes a game where you have to do better than other people because X, Y, and Z social media influencer goes to Portugal, Spain, lives in France, lives a completely different caliber of life than you do. And your life doesn't have as much meaning if you're not living the same life that they are. That there is a difference between you, the extraordinary person, and the person next to you who is just ordinary and meant to live a ordinary life. But in actuality, there is no ordinary or extraordinary people. There are simply people. In reality, life is more random and unexplainable than it is explainable by means of hard work, success, luxury, being a means to an end that you absolutely have to reach. When in actuality, all variables are completely random, and the only thing you can control is your own mind. Nothing truly makes sense. People can say that this life is a test between good and evil, that one of us will end up in heaven and the other hell, while another can simply say that life is a continuous cycle of birth and rebirth, when in actuality, all we know is the present day and the things we can learn to build a foundation for tomorrow. I'm not really sure what the point of this video is. I kind of just wanted to, I guess, talk out loud about social media and I guess the effects that it's been having on me and I feel a lot of other people because the economic state of the world is not that great right now. The US government has us in about $40 trillion of debt, inflating our currency alongside the oil reserves going down and the bond market crashing. There are just so many circumstances that are almost seemingly out of our control. If you feel that you are lacking control over your life and you feel depressed or anxious or anything like that, one of the best things, at least for me, that I've been able to kind of, I guess, create a framework of control outside of just numbing my brain through social media use has been through reading, living within my means as much as possible, enjoying the very little things in life, such as walking my dogs or even just being able to have a conversation with myself about how I'm going to get to where I'm going to go. But the answer is definitely not social media. And I know it's ironic because I plan to post this on YouTube. I don't know if I actually will, but just delete it all. Delete TikTok, deactivate Instagram. The people who actually want to be in your life will keep in touch with you. Another little kind of side tangent, ever since I deleted Instagram and TikTok, I realized that people kind of just watch you on social media. People don't actually want to engage with you. And also, we're kind of just not meant to intake that much information at once. I still struggle with social media addiction a little bit through YouTube, but at least it's long form content, so I feel it's a little bit better on my brain. And also, there's more academic kind of content. I think Twitter, Instagram, TikTok tend to spread misinformation or inflate, I guess, scientific findings or academic media, such as the new cancer vaccine that was found. I watched Robert Greene's video on it. I still want to do my own kind of research on that because it's pretty interesting. Found almost cancer vaccine, I guess, for melanoma. But if you take anything away from this video, you are not alone. Stop comparing yourself to other people and engage with content and material that you don't necessarily want to. Because just like the gym, our brain is a muscle. People cannot take away your mind, they can only try and control it. Stop living in fear and start living in the present. Okay, I'm gonna go into the gym now. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.